Hello, good evening everyone. Welcome. Today I am going to teach a lesson from 10th class Telangana State Board Biology, that is nutrition. I am Swati. I am MSc B.Ed. Now let's go into the topic. Nutrition. First I write the learning objectives of today's class. First, what is nutrition? Why is it needed? How? And next is, what are the different modes of nutrition? And an experiment to prove presence of starch. So these are the learning objectives of today's class. First, let us try to know what is nutrition. Nutrition is nothing but to take in food. Once you note down these objectives, first we are going to get answers for these questions. Apart from that, what is nutrition? So nutrition is nothing but to take in food. What is food actually? We feel energetic. That means we are inserting some nutrients inside our body. Nutrition is to take in nutrients in the form of food. Okay, so this is what nutrition is. I don't want to go deeper into this. Let me just give you a brief idea about what nutrients are. Okay, nutrients are of three types. Already you have learned in lower classes. They are energy giving, bodybuilding, and protective. So these are the three types of nutrients. Okay, so somehow we are taking in food and that we are calling it as nutrients. So we found out answer for first questions. Now next, second one, why should we take in nutrients? Why is it necessary? Okay, now let us try to find out answer for the second question. If you are delayed for 1 hour than your regular meals, then you feel so weak, you become so impatient, right? So why is it happening? That means nutrients are not sufficient inside our body. We feel so weak if we don't take food in time. That means by taking food we get energy. So when we have enough energy, then only we can carry on with our daily routine. Why do we need food? To get energy. To only get energy? No other functions of food? Yes, we have. See, suppose if you just check out your second class photograph and the ninth class photograph, then you can see a very drastic change in your growth. Okay, so that means we need food for growth too. Whenever you play games or sports, you may be hurt, you may be injured, but after few days, then again it will be healed and again the skin comes back to normal. So how is it happening? That means some repair work will go on in your body by taking food. Okay, and also we are warm-blooded. Already we have learnt. What do you mean by warm-blooded? Warm-blooded are nothing but our body temperature remains constant. Okay, all the time, unless the feverish conditions, your body temperature remains constant, that is 98.4 degrees Fahrenheit or 98.7. That's all, it remains constant. So even this body temperature is also maintained by taking food. So these are the functions carried out by nutrients taken inside the body by nutrition. So we found out answer for second question also. Okay, now let us go to the third one. How do we acquire food? Let us go to the third answer, that is, how do we get food? Okay, how do we get food? What are the different foods we get? See, we may get food from plants and animals, right? So sometimes if you take plants, what are the different food materials supplied by plants? In the form of veggies or in the form of fruits. And if you take leafy vegetables, we are completely consuming leaves, stem, and even sometimes roots, like in the case of carrot, radish, we are taking that too. And in case of stem, suppose leafy vegetables like coriander or amaranthus, that is totakura, we are taking stem also. Or else potato is a modified stem. So we are getting food in the form of roots or leaves or stem, or sometimes even fruits also. When we are getting food from animals also, that is in the form of milk, eggs, meat, and honey. So we are getting food from animals also in the form of meat, milk, eggs, sometimes even honey. So these are the different products we get from plants and animals. Without these products we can survive, and without these, can we? No. As we have learned just now, we can acquire food from plants and animals, right? In order to produce these milk or eggs, animals have to depend on plants. And what about plants? How are they able to make? If you take a carrot or beetroot, without anything, of course you are supplying water. When it is placed in sunlight and air, it is able to make its own food, right? It is able to make its own food. So plants are making their own food by a special process called photosynthesis. You have learnt this photosynthesis from your lower classes. What photosynthesis is? Photosynthesis is a process where plants make their food in the form of starch or glucose by taking carbon dioxide, water, in the presence of sunlight, with the help of a pigment called chlorophyll. They are able to prepare the food in the form of glucose or starch. This is what photosynthesis is. This is how plants are making their own food, and they are called as autotrophs. All the time you should remember that auto means self, okay, and troph is nothing but food, okay. So this is how plants will make their own food, and they are called as autotroph, and this type of nutrition is called as autotrophic nutrition, okay. Autotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition, including humans, all the animals, will depend on plants for their food requirements. So if they depend, hetero means different, trophic is nothing but food, okay. Hetero means different and trophic is nothing but food. So here the animals or the organisms which depend on other organisms for their food requirement are called as heterotrophs, including humans. All the animals are heterotrophs, okay. Now our topic is nutrition, right? Now let us go little more deeper into the topic photosynthesis, okay. So as we said earlier, photosynthesis is a process where plants make their food in the form of glucose, that is nothing but C6H12O6 along with liberation of oxygen and water with the help of CO2, that is carbon dioxide, and water in the presence of sunlight with the help of pigment called chlorophyll. They will make the food in the form of glucose. So this is what photosynthesis is, and this is the skeletal equation. And if you go for balanced one, 6CO2 plus 12H2O gives rise to C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. This is the balanced photosynthesis equation. Okay, all of us know that if you don't water a plant for one day, then means it will be first withered, it will be wilted, it will be dried, right? In this lesson especially, we are going to learn how water affects photosynthesis, how carbon dioxide affects photosynthesis, and how oxygen is liberated, starch or glucose present in plants or not. So apart from this, first let us try to know whether glucose or starch is prepared and stored in plants or not. As we said, photosynthesis will help plants to make food in the form of starch. After that, it will store in the form of glucose or any other thing in leaves, stem and roots sometimes, but generally it is stored in parts of plant. This is what we have to prove. Is starch present in leaf or not? Okay, so here we have an experiment to prove the presence of starch. To prove the presence of starch in leaves. Okay, listen to me carefully. Now here the required items are methylated spirit and water, even a Bunsen burner too, and a tripod stand, and thin leaf, thin long leaf. Okay, now let us go to the experiment. First we have to take a beaker. Now in this you have to fill water. Now you take a test tube. Test tube is nothing but it's a very long cylindrical shaped one with one side closed, one side opened, and in this you have to take methylated spirit, 3/4 of methylated spirit, and in this we have to put a very thin long leaf. You should place this whole setup on a tripod stand and now heat it with the help of a Bunsen burner. Now by heating, water gets boiled, and with the help of this hot water even this methylated spirit also gets boiled, and the leaf which is kept inside this will start getting decolored. That means it becomes pale. Okay, it becomes pale in color, it loses chlorophyll. That means that chlorophyll will be dissolved in this methylated spirit. Okay, by heating this. This should be continued for 10 to 15 minutes, and after that you stop this process heating and you take out this leaf from this. Put this leaf in a petri dish. Petri dish is nothing but a small bowl, and you are putting this leaf, and now you should add few drops of iodine on this. Then as soon as you take out the leaf from this methylated spirit, it becomes pale in color. It is chlorophyll free. Generally leaves, when they are with chlorophyll, they will be green in color, but when it is pale and when you put few drops of iodine on it, then it becomes bluish black. Already you have learned, when iodine reacts with the starch, then only it becomes bluish black. So this indicates, what does it indicate? This color change indicates the presence of starch. So by this experiment we can say that photosynthesis will help the plants to make food and store in its parts like leaves. Okay, this is the experiment which will prove. So these are the objectives we have learnt in today's class. Let's have a quick recap of today's class. What we have learned today. What is nutrition? Nutrition is nothing but intake of nutrients. Nutrients are again of three types: bodybuilding, energy giving, and protective foods. Why should we take food? That is to get energy, for growth and repair of the body, and to maintain body temperature. Okay, so what are the different types of food we get? That is, we may take food items from plants, and we may get food from animals also. If they are from plants, we get food from plants like vegetables, okay, fruits, or sometimes we even eat the leaves, roots, stems. And animals, we are getting the different food items from the animals like meat, eggs, milk, and even honey. Next, modes of nutrition we have learnt. Modes of nutrition, we have different types of nutrition. That is, mainly we can classify them into autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophs are nothing but the organisms which depend on other organisms for their food requirements. They are called heterotrophs, and that type of nutrition is known as heterotrophic nutrition. And here all the animals, like that may be an ant, elephant, even a human, all these are heterotrophs. Now autotrophs is nothing but they make their own food. Auto means self, trophic is nothing but food. So they prepare their own food by a process called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process where plants will make their food in the form of glucose or starch by taking carbon dioxide, water in the presence of sunlight, and chlorophyll. The next is, what is the proof that glucose or starch is present in plants, which is prepared by photosynthesis? Here we have learnt an experiment, which is, we are taking a very long thin leaf and we have to put in a test tube where methylated spirit is there. Okay, methylated spirit, and you have to put this whole setup in a beaker containing water, and you should heat this setup for 10 to 15 minutes with the help of a Bunsen burner which is kept on the tripod stand. And after giving heat for 10 to 15 minutes, this leaf becomes pale in color. That means this chlorophyll will be totally dissolved in this methylated spirit. And after that, take out this leaf, and by adding iodine drops, it turns bluish black, which indicates the presence of starch in leaf. We have to follow a precaution that, as methylated spirit is highly flammable, like how petrol is flammable, so you should be very careful when you are supplying heat with the help of Bunsen burner. This experiment is very important. It may come for 4 marks, and the photosynthesis equation is asked for 1 mark or 2 marks, so be careful about that. So this is the recap.